And let me share the screen. All right, so hey guys, may I answer to you guys? We are I am here with K. Oh my goodness, what is happening with okay, let me for some reason my thing is weird. Like I don't know why. Let me just stop that real quick. Let me try that again. It was like glitching for some reason. Okay, it's good. Okay, sorry about that. So anyways, we are back here for the channel. We're going to do the Europa League Final with me and KSO123. I'll be previewing the Europa League Final, of course. You know, and I think for me, this is a trophy that United should win. Okay, as much as I would like for Villarreal to win, United should be winning this. United is in my opinion, the best team here, and I think for me, this is a huge chance for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to prove his critics wrong, because a lot of critics of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer say, "Oh, you haven't done the things well, you've done all that, but can you win a trophy?" That's what people are going to look to. And if he doesn't win a trophy, people will probably clown him and say, "Oh, look, Mourinho won a trophy with Manchester United with a weaker squad, and you can't even win the Europa League." That's pretty sad. You know, so KSO, what do you think about this?
Yeah, like you said, I think that it should be. It's kind of a must-win game for United, or else you see them not really improving anywhere. One place in the Premier League, that's it. But really, that doesn't decide anything extra. And like you said, Mourinho won not just the Europa League, but also the FA Cup, and then the following season Community Shield with a way weaker team. And I'd probably say that the team that United have right now is probably the best team in a good 6-7 years since that 2013 Premier League title. So I think this is like a must-win for them. But on the other side of things, Villarreal, you can't count them out, because even though I don't think they've won a Europa League before, they have Unai Emery, and we know what he did with Sevilla. And I think them making the final was something that maybe was unpredicted, but I think when you account the manager, I think this could go any way. I don't think there's a heavy favorite in this one at all.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Let's be real. Villarreal, Unai Emery is the guy that everyone's gonna look forward to. I don't think anyone's gonna like. I know there's good players and Chukwueze, Jared Moreno, Paco Alcacer. I just don't think people are going to be looking at Unai Emery, because I think Unai Emery is the person that if there's anyone to stop Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's him, because he's won the Europa League 3 times consecutively with Sevilla, which is a very, very impressive achievement. Not many managers can say they won 3 in a row like that, so I think that's a very good achievement there. So, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the pre-match insights for this, because I think it's pretty interesting to read into this. And so after that, we're gonna go ahead and look into how each team did in their own domestic league. Take that into consideration. Obviously, we're not going to spend too much time, because we know that in the day that's in a league, and the final is very different. And then obviously we'll look into the expected lineup for both teams, and then we'll probably look into we'll probably use the transfer market to see who is currently injured and all that. And then in the end, we'll do our predictions. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So our first insight here is Villarreal and Manchester United will face each other in the 5th time, with each of the previous 4 meetings finishing 0-0 in the UEFA Champions League 2005, 2006, 2008, 2009. Manchester United faced Villarreal more times without ever scoring than they have in any other opponent in their history. Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that. That's crazy.
That fact that it's been 0-0 every time. I don't think that's going to happen. I definitely think there's going to be goals in this.
I hope it doesn't happen. I really hope not.
Yeah, same.
This will be Manchester United's 8th major European final, the second most of any English club after Liverpool. They have been crowned and winners in 5 of the previous 7 finals, losing only against Barcelona, UEFA Champions League in both 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011.
I think United are pretty good in finals. The one against Barca, those are arguably the 2 of the best teams of all time. But besides that, United are pretty good when it comes to finals in their record, so that's a good thing to know.
Yeah. Villarreal reached a major European final for the first time in their history, becoming the 11th different Spanish team side to do so. The previous 2 Spanish sides to reach a major European final for the first time also faced an English opponent in the match. Alaves 4-5 Liverpool in the 2001 UEFA Cup, and Sevilla 4-0 Middlesbrough in 2005-2006 UEFA Cup. Wow, that's incredible, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a big one. I think this is a big final. If we're talking about qualifications and things, we can kind of jump to the league real fast here. But Villarreal got 7th in their league, which is European Conference League, I believe, that new thing they added.
Yeah.
But that's a downgrade from Europa League. So this final could be a way for them to get into the Champions League. So something to look out for.
Yeah. So let's finish this first before we go into that. So I can see we have Eloquence here, Meow Meow, and corner taken quickly, Origi. Oh, no. Okay. On each of the last 9 occasions of Spanish side facing English opposition European competition final, including Super Cup, the Spanish club has won the match. The last to lose were Alaves against Liverpool in 2001 UEFA Cup. Okay. Interesting.
I think that makes sense, though, because if you think about it, all the European competition finals since then have mostly been Barcelona and Real Madrid. And if we are talking from 2007 to 2017, we basically had either a super dominant Barcelona team or a super dominant Real Madrid team. So it kind of makes sense that the Spanish teams tend to win it more in the recent history.
Yeah, Spanish teams have been dominating Europe. They have been really good. I feel like right now we're kind of seeing a decline in the Spanish teams reaching the final. Obviously, I know Villarreal made it. I'm just meaning that I feel like we're starting to see the decline as far as the Champions League and even maybe Europa League just in a lesser extent because we're still seeing 2 Spanish teams make the final this season and last season. Obviously, last season beat Sevilla, and so I still believe the Spanish teams are declining.
Yeah,
anyways, the final.
That's true. I'm just gonna say the English teams as well. This year, all English UCL. That was the same thing. And 2 years ago with Tottenham and Liverpool, and then we had an all English. It's every year it seems to be the Champions League has 2 English teams in the semifinal. For both Europa League and Champions League, it just seems like the English teams are a bit more dominant right now.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's finish this one. Manchester United would be the 9th side in 22 seasons to win the UEFA Cup Europa League, having been eliminated in the group stage of the UEFA Champions League that season since the method was introduced in 1999-2000. The most recent instance was Atletico Madrid in 2008-2018, while the only previous English side to do so were Chelsea in 2012-2013. So that's a really interesting. I did not know that. Only 2 teams have done that in the past, it seems. No, actually, 2 teams have recently done it, right? It says... 9th side. Okay. Yeah, never mind. It's not been that common.
I can see that because a lot of times out of the 8 teams that drop down, usually half of them aren't that great. But then if there's one big team that just slips up, then they have a good shot. Or if there's a group of death, for this year we had PSG, United, and Leipzig, one of those teams are going to drop down probably, and that means that we automatically have an additional Europa League favorite. So
yeah. So as you can see, Villarreal. Oh, yeah,
I was gonna say personally, I don't like the dropping down thing. I just think if you're eliminated, you should be eliminated because then it just makes some of these Champions League teams have a second chance, and I don't like it. But obviously this year, I would like it. But
I think it's kind of nice. I like it. I personally think because it gives an incentive to finish 3rd than finish 4th. Because then you might as well not I don't know. It gives an incentive, right? I mean, that's so I like that kind of idea. I think it's a good idea in my opinion. But of course, we all have our own opinions, So Villarreal, they managed to finish 7th. Now, people need to understand that just because you get 7th does not necessarily mean you directly qualify for the Europa Conference League. It just means that you're in the path, so you don't directly qualify. So Villarreal will still have to go through the qualifiers to play. And they still need to do so. They're not directly in it just yet. Okay. Now, as far as Villarreal is concerned, as you can see, Unai Emery has done a fantastic record. I think for one point of the season, they were unbeaten for most of the season, I think. And I think they had only lost to Barcelona in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. Until then, though, we saw they were in a bad run of form. I think I saw they were having 5 draws consecutively. It was really, really bad. They had a winless streak and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, here are obviously some of the key players. You got Jared Moreno, obviously one to look out for. He'll probably, if Villarreal score, you can imagine he would score. Pau Torres, one of the great defenders, a great defender. Samuel Chukwueze, I heard he is currently injured, so he may not play. Paco Alcacer, obviously we know what kind of player he is, although he has a pretty bad injury record, I think. Carlos Baca, Jan Foyth, Capone, Danny Pereiro, Estupiñán. There's so many great players to this Villarreal team, and this Villarreal team, in my opinion, have been good. Now, what I will say though about this Villarreal team, and I will really want to speak into this. Villarreal, their Europa League path hasn't really been that convincing. I'll be honest with you guys, their Europa League path hasn't really been that convincing. They haven't really faced any tough opposition. Maybe you could say Arsenal towards the end, but just in general, like you look at the group, like Tel Aviv, Sivasspor, Qarabag. I mean, no disrespect to any of those three teams. Those three teams aren't that great, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they had a pretty easy path. I remember previewing in the quarterfinals or semifinals. I remember their path to the semifinals was pretty easy. The only tough opposition they've now had is only up until the semifinals, whereas United have had tests of AC Milan. They had Real Sociedad in the in the round of 32. So those are back-to-back hard. And then they had Granada and then Roma, which I definitely think is way stronger than having the likes of Dinamo Zagreb or Dynamo Kiev and things.
Yeah, Salzburg in the round of 32. We know Salzburg is a decent team, but they're not really that great of a team. Let's be real. I mean, they're not that amazing. Let's just put it that way. Then obviously the round of 16, they faced. Let's see who they faced. I'm trying to figure out who they faced. I'm trying to remember. They faced. Hey, where does it say here? Oh, they faced Dynamo Kiev. Dynamo Kiev, not that difficult of a team. Let's be real. Then the round of the quarterfinals, they did face Dynamo Zagreb, and of course we know what they did to Tottenham. But I feel like Tottenham basically screwed that up. And then obviously in the semis, they faced Arsenal, which was a pretty difficult test, to be fair. And they managed to just about narrowly make it through. So I honestly, genuinely believe, for me, Villarreal, they haven't had a very difficult path compared to Manchester United. Obviously, Manchester United have had a very difficult path. Look at the group stage they had. They had PSG, Leipzig, Istanbul, Başakşehir here, and which they nearly progressed from the group stage. They nearly came out of the group. Obviously, we know what happened. I don't want to speak too much about it. We know that the fact they were unable to defeat Istanbul Başakşehir came out to be decisive. Obviously, we know the game against Leipzig away. That horrible start they had in the beginning basically cost them the game because they almost nearly did the comeback. They almost nearly did.
Yeah, I remember it was down 3-0 and then it was 3-2. And then the ball almost deflected in for an own goal to make it 3-3. But didn't. But we didn't deserve to draw that game. We kind of got destroyed.
Yeah, I think that scoreline kind of flatters United, to be honest with you, despite the fact they lost. And then obviously, and then the round of 32, they faced Real Sociedad, which they comfortably dispatched 4-0 on aggregate. Then in the round of 16, they faced Milan, which was a pretty tough test, in which you can argue Milan probably were unlucky to have not advanced. That's up to you, though. And then that's up to your interpretation. The Granada they faced, which they comfortably got past. And then against Roma, even though they won the first leg pretty comfortably, the second leg was a pretty difficult, and they narrowly lost the game 3-2. However, it didn't really matter because the deficit was too big anyway to overturn, and United qualified for the final.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good run, especially with like Champions League and things. And a lot of people were upset about the Champions League not qualifying for that, but in a sense, I think dropping to the Europa League gives a good shot at the trophy. Whereas in the Champions League, I don't know if the team was ready to face the likes of, Bayern, City, Liverpool, Dortmund all the time. Whereas in this, we still got hard draws, but the team really showed up, I think, in the Europa League. One thing, though, I think that could actually hurt Man United is their starts because, for example, against Milan, we started slow and we came down, I believe, 1-0, but luckily a goal was disallowed. And then against, let's say, even second leg of Real Sociedad, yes, we were up 4-0, but they got an early penalty and they had like 3-4 shots in the first 6 minutes, and we could have actually made that a bit scary. And then against Roma in the 6-2 game, we started terribly and we're down 2-1. Kind of lucky to not be down 3-1, but eventually we turned it around. I feel like this team sometimes doesn't play well unless we have to respond to something. So it's just a thing to watch out for, though. But one thing I just want to quickly point out for Villarreal is I was looking at the La Liga table, and they got 7th and things. But if you look at the goals for and the goals against and the difference, they have a plus 16 goal difference, pretty good, but they have 60 goals in 38 games, which is actually fourth in La Liga, only behind the big three. But their defensive record is actually pretty bad. It's like mid-table to lower table. It's just something I see. I think they're a bit of a higher scoring and they let in a lot of goals. It's just something to watch out for.
Yeah, they're definitely a very attacking-minded team. That I think that's very, very clear, which I should have probably mentioned. So my bad. Thank you for mentioning that. So as you can see, United is also kind of similar, to be fair, though. United is also very similar in that they score a lot of goals. Defensively, they're not amongst the best. Let's just be real. Defensively, at times it can be very, very bad, and oftentimes it can cost them, And so as you can see, 73 goals scored, 44 goals conceded, and 74 points. That's pretty respectable.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, I do believe Liverpool and Chelsea, maybe even Leicester, maybe Leicester, you could say, Tottenham, Arsenal, I do believe they've underperformed. So perhaps if the teams had performed as expected, United may have not been as high as second.
Yeah, it was an improvement, one place. And then last year we finished with 66 points, which is kind of where Leicester is now. So it's pretty similar in the amount you need for top four. But it's an 8-point increase. And it comes to the goals for and away and or against and things. Defensive record's not too great, but earlier in the season it really started out high scoring, I feel like, and we conceded a lot. But I don't know, it kind of became a bit more normalized to the point where we have the second most goals for, but the conceding wise isn't the greatest. I think that's where United are the weakest. Like it's little mistakes that just cost goals, and sometimes the ball movement from the midfield is pretty terrible.
Yeah. One thing I did notice, though, about their paths to the Europa League final is that United have done pretty well against Spanish teams. They've actually done pretty well. They won against Granada 4-0 in aggregate and won against Sociedad 4-0 aggregate. Whereas against the Italian teams, they haven't really done particularly too well in that regard, and that they just about narrowly beat Milan 2-1. I mean, 3-2 on aggregate, I think. No, I think it was 2-1. My bad, 2-1. It was 2-1. And then against Roma, even though they won the first leg very comfortably, the second leg was still a bit of a struggle, in that they could have easily had lost even by a greater margin, because I saw in the highlights that David De Gea was making so many saves. So perhaps if David De Gea was in insane form, United might have lost that game by 2 or 3 goal margin. Whether it would have been enough to overturn the deficit, it's hard to say. But I do believe that United have done pretty well against Spanish teams, which could possibly be an advantage. But as I said before, guys, a final is usually most of the time very close. So perhaps I might be reading too much into those games, and that it's all about the matches. Because like I said before, guys, just because you can beat Barcelona, for example, just hypothetically, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to beat, let's say, Newcastle. It's just these kind of things, that just because you can beat the top teams doesn't necessarily mean you can beat the mid-table teams, which I felt like was one of United's biggest issues last season, in my opinion, especially in the first half of the season.
Yeah, it's a whole other atmosphere in the final. And then, like, talking about the Spanish and Italian teams, it was interesting because the Spanish teams, it was weird how we only got Spanish and Italian teams. We didn't get any, French or another English or German team or just someone from, one of the other leagues. But, yeah, the Spanish ones we did pretty well. I don't know if it's, this is not, for everything, but the stereotypical Spanish team is a bit more, pass the ball around, not huge attacking, more defensive. And I think United's better against that. For Italy, though, I think the teams are a bit more higher press. That's why it was a bit harder, I think, for us. And like you said, I think if Dean Henderson was in goal that day or David De Gea had a bad day, I seriously think we could have actually had Roma come back against us. But Villarreal, though, I think is kind of your typical Spanish side. So I don't think it will be similar to Granada or Real Sociedad.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We don't really know, definitively speaking. Like I said, I think Villarreal is still a good team, obviously. So now we're going to go ahead and look into the transfer market, and let's see who's currently available for this game. And that kind of thing, because that could change. That could change how we perceive our lineups and obviously our predictions. So let's go ahead and start with Villarreal. So let me go ahead and pull up the Villarreal thing and who is currently injured in that. So remember, guys, transfer market is pretty reliable. I think it's reliable. It's probably not the most reliable, so take this for a grain of salt. So probably we should probably check out the Twitter pages. They probably have more reliable there, but I think this is typically reliable. So let me go ahead and show you guys that. So as you can see, right, guys, this is the thing right here, and this is the player. So as you can see right here, so Jan Foyth is currently out injured. His return is unknown, so we don't know when he will be back. Iborra is also currently injured. He is expected to be back June 14th, so he's out injured as well. And then Chukwueze, his return date's unknown. So those are the three players I want to say that are currently injured. So I think Chukwueze will definitely be a big absence. I don't think Iborra will be that huge of a loss. I don't anticipate. And Jan Foyth, I think could be a bad. Well, it actually may not be that bad because he's on loan. And I remember one of those games he made a mistake. So perhaps it's not the worst, but I do think Chukwueze will definitely be a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah,
do you think anything?
I was just gonna say it's. I don't think those are too bad of injuries. Iborra Iborra seems to be a backup, and Juan Foyth seems to be like a lone. Tottenham looked to loan out one of their younger players, and Villarreal picked him up for squad depth. Chukwueze, though, talking about starting, I mean, looking at the lineup generally, Moreno and Alcacer be ahead of him, but that's usually a key player, especially with his pace and things. He's usually used a lot as either a starter or like a super sub. So I think that's their biggest injury that could hurt. But besides that, it looks like a pretty normal Villarreal side, and I think they'll go the strongest lineup. And I think the lineup they'll do is probably their strongest lineup that they have. I don't think the injuries will be too bad.
All right, so let's go look at Manchester United's injuries, and let's see who is currently out. I know one big injury, obviously, is going to be Harry Maguire. I believe he'll be out.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. There's a lot of rumors saying that he'll be available, but some people say he's not. And I think I have the idea. I mean, if we go through this, obviously Harry Maguire, Phil Jones, he doesn't ever really play. Martial. So this is the thing. I think. So Phil Jones, it doesn't really mean much, but Maguire and Martial. So Martial, I believe, was not included in the 26-man squad. That was, I think, I got a notification earlier this morning. Actually, players like Ahmad and even like Anthony Elanga from the academy, who's not even listed here, is actually on the squad. Martial's not really fit. I think he's probably just going to come back for the Euros or something. But Maguire, it's one of those things, you either play him partially fit or you don't play him. He's not going to be fully fit, and it's like a risk. Do we play him partially fit or do we not play our usual captain?
Yeah, he's a very important loss for the team. I know Martial, obviously, it's not ideal to have him injured, but I know this season hasn't been that great. His form has been pretty bad, I think, what I saw when I was checking the stats earlier this season. And in general, I don't think he's been that great compared to last season. So perhaps it's not the biggest loss, I guess that's way to put it, right?
Yeah, I think Tuanzebe is a perfect backup for him. I think that. I think he's,
right.
I think he's our best center back, honestly. It's unpopular opinion.
All right, so yeah, this is their the squad. So it's mostly fit, So now we move on to the predicted lines. Let's start with Manchester United. So who do you think? What would your ideal lineup be? So
De Gea should be in goal. De Gea should be in goal. And I think it actually will. I think he should be, and I think he should be captain. It could be his last game, and he could lift the trophy if we win it, obviously. But I think David De Gea should definitely be in goal. And I think he will be. There were doubts, but he's been given the Europa League, and the main thing was Henderson was given the game on Sunday, so that's a big thing. Across the back, it's got to be Shaw at left.
Oh, wait, sorry to interrupt you. What formation do you want to go with? I should have actually that first.
It'd be probably the 4-2-3-1 wide.
Okay.
That's what we've done, I think, like every game this season except like a couple games earlier.
So like this?
It'd be the other one. That's the narrow one. Yeah, no one really uses the
Yeah, this one, right?
Yeah, that's the one. We've
Oh,
done it
okay,
every
okay.
single game.
Okay, so right back.
Right back's got to be Wan-Bissaka. That's guaranteed. I will be very, very surprised, but I guarantee Wan-Bissaka will definitely start there.
How do you spell his name?
I think it was there. Yeah, right there. It
Oh,
should be
okay,
there.
okay. Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I saw like Lewandowski. I was like, mate, okay, never mind. Okay, so for center backs,
I think so. Lindelof should be on the right, and that's what
okay.
I think he'll do because Lindelof was rested for the weekend. So Lindelof's definitely going to be the right. See, the left side. It's hard. It could be Maguire, Tuanzebe, or Bailly. I'm predicting if I think Maguire's going to play partially fit, which is going to be a terrible idea. I think we could lose because of that. I think what we should do is play Tuanzebe. He's been our best center back in 90% of the games. And just because I like him, and I think he's a future star, I think he's been like our best center back, and a lot of people think so. But it could be Maguire.
So let me get this straight. So you're predicting Maguire will start, but you want Tuanzebe to start.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. I think Tuanzebe is our second best or first best center back.
Okay, what about Bailey? Would you start Bailey?
Bailly or Bailey? I think he's good, but Lindelof's definitely playing, and if Lindel, I don't see Bailly starting. I don't see him getting chosen. I'd be very surprised, but I mean, it could go anyway. Honestly, it's kind of hard to choose. But another thing with him is that he's good and all, but I think he's kind of our worst option out of these four. He's not terrible. He's just not
okay. It's not like, how to put the words. It's like he's like worst case scenario, just not like the first choice.
He's not bad at all, but it's just I think we have three better options instead of him.
Okay, now left back.
Shaw. It's got to be Shaw. He's been one of the best left backs in the world, I think, this season. He's kind of not done well as of recently, like a couple last weeks, but I think it's going to be there.
Okay, so for the CDMs.
Okay, are we doing predictions or are we doing what I want?
Let's see. Well, let's do well, I don't really actually. Which one? I didn't even. Let's do what you want because I already put Tuanzebe in, so and you told me Maguire. So
okay.
We'll do both.
Okay. I think if we're talking what I want, it's got to be Pogba on the right and Fred on the left. But 100% I can guarantee it will not be that. But this is the best thing. I think Fred should play. I think he's a good option. And then left is got to be Rashford. For
left.
sure.
Wait, left mid, right? Okay.
Yeah, left mid. It's got to be Rashford. And then Cam, obviously Bruno. That's basically guaranteed.
Yeah, that's probably the most obvious.
He has so many cards as well. Right side, Greenwood, I think. Even though Greenwood, I think, is better up top, that's where Cavani should be going. I think he will be. But this is what I think we should do. But I don't think this will happen, though. Simply because Solskjaer, he's going to play Fred and McTominay in the middle. He's going to play Pogba on the left. And then probably bench Rashford or bench Greenwood. Which I think is really dumb.
Yeah, honestly, this to me is a way better lineup. And then, what about Dan James? Is there any chance you see Dan James starting?
Not starting. I think coming on as a sub. I think if we play like this formation, he would be the first sub. But if we play the formation with McTominay, then Rashford or Greenwood would be the first sub, and then he's like a second sub, I think. But for some reason, he plays Fred and McTominay, and then he plays Pogba on the left. So it's Rashford or Greenwood, and then it's either Greenwood's on the right and Rashford's benched, which is a big loss, or he plays Rashford on the right, but Rashford cannot play on the right, and he does absolutely terrible. I don't understand, but it's.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's the strongest possible team. To me, it looks the best. You know. So now we move on to Villarreal. Obviously, we don't really. I don't really know the Villarreal players that well now, so we're probably just going to use the last game they played against. I think they played against Real Madrid, so we'll probably just look at that lineup. Excuse me. We'll probably just look at that lineup in particular, and then we could probably look at the other lineup, see if there's any variations. So let's go and look at this. And you can answer which players intimidate you, and like which players are you scared of the most, like fear the most, I guess. So they have Rulli and goal. So this is interesting.
No, this has got to be a rotated team. I would think. You would think.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't look into this one. Maybe we should look into the Sevilla game where they won 4-0. So maybe this one's some better indication. So that is Sancho starting. I think. Wait a minute. I think the Rulli starts for the Europa League. I think that he starts in the Europa League. I think Sancho plays in the La Liga.
I don't know if they'll actually play Rulli. I think they'll go Asensio. I think they will, but it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen how their backup goalkeeper does, so obviously I can't really tell you how good he is. I heard he's a pretty good goalkeeper, so perhaps he might. I personally think you should go with the Senho, your first choice keeper. You should play in a big final. If I were Unai Emery, I would do that at least. So they have Rui Funes. Let me check if I'm saying his name right. Romero Funes. Okay. Then they have, let's see who's next. They have Abidal, Pau Torres, Moreno, Pino, Trigaros, Pereiro, Gomez, Maxi Gomez, Jared Moreno, Carlos Bacca. So which out of those 11 players, which one do you think is going to be the cause most danger for United?
I think Moreno will be the biggest one. Moreno up top, Gerard Moreno. For sure, I think it'll be him. If there's anyone else, I think it might be Perejo. He might be 34 years old, but I think his experience is going to be key. I think those two players will definitely. I think, especially if we play a half-fit Maguire, I could see Moreno just running right past Maguire and saying, "See you later." So that's what I would fear from this team.
Yeah. So there's that. So I think this is a pretty good Villarreal team. So I definitely agree. Moreno is probably the one to look out for. Perhaps Pereiro as well. He's a very experienced player. I think he was a captain of Valencia, if I'm not mistaken. So one to watch out for. Maybe Maxi Gomez as well. Keep an eye on him. It's not Maxi Gomez. It's Moy Gomez. I'm sorry, guys. It's Moy Gomez. Maybe another player to keep an eye on for. Then yeah. So now we move on to my reasoning and our predictions. Okay. Now remember, guys, a prediction is what I think is going to happen. It's not necessarily what I want, because if you're to ask me what I want Villarreal to win, because I want a new team to win, and it's always nice for a different team to win. And obviously it's a Spanish team as well, which obviously, I'm a Barcelona fan, so I like for any Spanish team to win. So that's what I want. Okay. But realistically seeing, I believe United will win this. I simply think United their attack is too strong, in my opinion. And I don't believe Villarreal's defense will be able to keep them out. But it's difficult. Like, you got the likes of Greenwood, Cavani, then Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba. I think that attacking force is too strong, and I don't believe Villarreal will be able to close them out. So I believe United will win because of that, and I think their attack will be very, very strong. Now, what I will say, though, is that United's defense we know is not been that great, so I think Villarreal definitely have that chance, and I do believe the defense is very, very, very similar. I think both these teams have a very same defense, that both their teams don't really have great defense record, which I think could be something that'll be very open. So I think we'll get a lot of goals in that sense. And I think if Villarreal can make sure the defense is good, then I think they can get at their Manchester United. So there's that. And we know how Sociedad play with the high line, and we know how Manchester United are able to rinse through that easily. So perhaps if Villarreal do a high line here, then it could be even over before it could be very easy for United.
Yeah. Obviously I want United to win. And I think United can get the job done, but I don't want to just say, oh, there's some United fans out there that are like, oh, the Europa League's already done, we've already won it, and I'm just like, chill out, cool down. But I think like you said, the high line is going to be key. I think if they play a high line and we start Rashford and Greenwood both, which probably won't happen, but if we do, that's how we would win. I don't think if they play a high line, I think Rashford and Greenwood would have a free game. Unfortunately, I don't think Solskjaer is that good at lineup, so I think that they're probably not going to start Rashford and Greenwood, and they'll probably bench one, which I think is a really dumb idea. But that's what I think. The key thing is, I think Villarreal with Moreno and Parejo. I think our midfield could be the weakness. I think McTominay and Fred sometimes. Fred's a bit risky. He'll dive in and completely miss it, and they have a free chance 4-on-3 or something like that. McTominay can give the ball away sometimes or not run as much. I think that's the weakness for us. But then if Maguire starts, I think that's going to be the weakness. Not that he's I think he's been really, really good actually, and he's improved a lot. But half it Maguire, I don't think does the job, given the fact that he's also a slow guy to begin with.
Yeah, I've noticed that Fred is a bit reckless. I've sometimes seen him go through these crazy dives and crazy tackles, and it's a bit too reckless, And he's kind of one of those players. And another player around me that's reckless is Kimpembe, of course. But anyways, I'm back to this. So yeah, I think United will win the game. I'm going to say United wins 3-1. That's my prediction. I feel like we're going to get a penalty in this game for some reason, and I think Bruno Fernandes will score probably in the 20th minute. Then I think Cavani will probably score in the 40th minute, and I feel like United will be in a position where it's looking good. Then Villarreal will peg one back to make things interesting, and then maybe in the 70th minute or something, and then towards the end of the game, 80th to 90th minute, United will probably just kill it off when Villarreal are trying to push for that late equalizer, for extra time, and I think that's goal is going to come from Cavani yet again. I think Cavani will get a brace. So I think Cavani will get a brace. I think Bruno Fernandes will score from the penalty spot. And I have a feeling that the Villarreal score will be probably Gerard Moreno. So that's my prediction, 3-1.
Interesting. I don't do score predictions for my team because it always haunts me back and I jinx it. But I don't know. I think Cavani, when it comes to goal scoring, I think Cavani's the main guy as of late. Obviously, penalty, Bruno Fernandes would take that if we get it, and everyone would start clowning him and say, oh, he's so bad, he just takes penalties. But I don't know. I feel like something tells me that this game might have a 1-0 written all over it. It's a tight game for the whole. I don't know. It just seems like one of those games. It'll just be tight for the whole first half. It'll be a boring first half. Go into the second half, some spark of some insane pass from from Villarreal or from United. I'm not saying it's going to be 1-0 to United or something. I just feel like one spark of brilliance I think could get the job done. I don't know, something like that has just I don't know. That's what my mind is saying right now. So.
Yeah, that's a fair point because finals are usually very tense, and usually there isn't really much to separate the two sides. So it's a very fair point. But I don't think that's going to be the case here simply because I don't think both teams defensively have been that great. So that's why I believe it's going to be high scoring. Well, I don't know. I guess 4 goals is kind of high scoring, right? Don't you think? I guess.
Yeah, it's hard though because I think 3 goals isn't high scoring. But like you said, 2-1 and killing it off with 3-1. I don't know. If it depends what type of 3-1. But. I think it's maybe a bit high scoring, but for these teams, I don't think it is.
Yeah. I think both teams love to score goals. Both teams aren't that great defensively. Let's just be real. So I think my score prediction is justified, right? So
yeah,
who knows, man? Like I said, though, football is anything. Anything can happen. We know that, and crazy things have happened. We know upsets can happen. We know that anything is possible. So perhaps anything is possible, we know, but I do believe that United will win the game. I'm confident that United will win. As far as prediction, we'll see what happens because that's kind of a bit. It's not easy to call. Let's be real.
Yeah,
but I do believe United will win.
It'll be interesting. It's my first ever final with United. I started supporting when Solskjaer took over, and all I know is semifinals. So
yeah. Anyways. So I think that's it for today. So I think tomorrow we'll do maybe a post-match review, maybe just a quick reaction. And are you down for that tomorrow?
It depends my mood after the game. Depends how I'm feeling. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, if you're in a bad mood, then perhaps I might just do it by myself. And if you're in a great mood, then I guess we could do it immediately after.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right. So I'll expect that tomorrow. And then Thursday, guys, I'll do a Barcelona-related video, probably who should leave, who should go. And then Friday, I'll probably do the Champions League final match preview. And if you guys know any Manchester City fans or Chelsea fans, please let me know in the comment section below because I would like to get in contact with them for the Champions League final. Then Saturday, I'll do my match review. And then that's it for the week. So there's that. So I hope you guys are pretty guys. Remember to comment, subscribe, check out my description below for my Twitter, Discord, email. And also remember, guys, don't forget to subscribe to KSO's channel. I'll have a link down below in the description below soon after when this finished, when we finish, as well as I will be doing the Football Manager streams. Now, I am kind of considering to do maybe a 4 episodes this weekend, simply because Memorial Day. So there's that, and there's also the timing. Remember how the Champions League will take place on Saturday at 3 p.m. So chances are I don't know how we're going to do it that day. So perhaps I might just do it very early in the day, maybe do a morning stream, or perhaps I might do a late night stream. So I'll let you guys decide which one would you prefer to see, early morning stream or a late night stream. Probably late night's probably more convenient for me though. So maybe we might do a late night. So we'll see, man. We'll see. So that's pretty much it for today. So I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.